This is Gillette Safety Razor Company.
Right. This goes back to the patent for the razor, going back, I guess, well, this is 70 years ago, roughly, on that particular razor.
And how did Gillette come about, and why did you decide to get involved in Gillette?
Well, Gillette, here's a company that after 100 years of being in the razor and blade business has 70% or so of the value of razors and blades throughout the world. Yeah. Now, when you have that kind of permanent advantage, obviously, with the consumer, it's not going to go away in a few years. And it's not going to go away in decades. I mean, this is a company that really has something.
This meets the Buffett test.
It meets the test. It meets the test. Durable competitive advantage. Yeah. Durable competitive advantage.
And all night, as you go to, while you're sleeping, you know.
Well, when I sleep at night, I know that hair is growing on the faces of billions of men around the world, and that hair is growing on twice as many legs of women around the world. But I don't think too much about the women's legs. I wouldn't get to sleep.
Here is the Omaha Royals.
The Omaha Royals. Yep. Maybe 10 or so years ago, maybe a little more even, the owner of the Omaha Royals was going to sell, and they probably moved the team out of town. So at the time, it was the Union Pacific Railroad, and Walter Scott and I bought the team primarily to keep it in Omaha.
And it's still in Omaha?
It's still in Omaha.
And you suit up ever?
Oh yeah, no, they count on me.
well, I've seen pictures of you in a uniform.
I've started several games, but they seem to pull me after one pitch.
Before the first pitch.
Yeah, right.
We have a change in the starting lineup. Buffett will not be pitching today.
Nobody's gotten a hit off me. That was our first purchase. You can barely read it because the ink has gotten faded.
On the partnership?
This first purchase of Berkshire stock by the partnership in 1962. And this is the trading record of a firm called, at that time, Tweedy, Brown & Riley. Yeah. And they were the brokers I used. A wonderful fellow named Howard Brown bought all my Berkshire for me at this small firm called Tweedy Brown. And then many years later, they pulled out the trading card relating to that first purchase and sent it to me.
This is what?
Well,
Tom Osborne has signed this.
Yeah, and Frank Solich, too. And that's the record of Nebraska during the Devaney, Osborne, Solich regime.
From 1960 to 2003.
Yeah, it was quite a record.
They won a lot of football games.
They won a lot of football games.
Right. That's a passion, University of Nebraska.
Well, I mean, you're not allowed to reside in Nebraska unless you're a little bit of a fanatic on the subject.
When you take Gates to a game in which they're playing against Washington,
he doesn't really respond very well. But in Nebraska, I mean, when there's a divorce in Nebraska, they don't argue about the kids. They argue about the football tickets.
Who gets the tickets?
Yeah.
Right. Here we have the New York Stock Exchange, and this is, let it be known that Berkshire Hathaway Incorporated, Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah.
Listed on the New York Stock Exchange.
We had a problem doing that because of the price of our stock and everything. It took a little special action by the exchange, which I appreciated.
Explain that to me.
Well, it's just that they had some round lot requirements and all of that were designed for lower price stocks, and we didn't have the number of 100 share owners that were required at the time. So they redefined it a little bit to allow Berkshire to be.
There are always people who want to know why you've never split the stock.
Well, we don't split the stock because we don't want to encourage the kind of buyer who is excited by stock splits. And this way, it keeps it more of a business atmosphere and less of a day-to-day stock atmosphere around it.
And is there any sense that the people that you want to invest in Berkshire Hathaway, you want them to come in for a long time, and you want them to take seriously the decision to buy Berkshire Hathaway?
We want them to join in a business with us with the intention of holding it forever. Now, all kinds of reasons why they might not, but that's the goal.
All right. Do you check the price of the stock every day?
I probably know about it sometime during the day, maybe at the close, but I'm not checking the price.
And if there's some movement, you're not interested in why there's movement, who might be selling or who might be buying?
It doesn't make any difference.
Doesn't make any difference.
No.
So on this wall, here's Tom Murphy, and you were in a soap opera.
I was in about 4 soap operas, but that's because every time I got invited, they hadn't seen the earlier one. And Susan Lucci was terrific. I mean, she Tom Murphy and I are there, and we couldn't remember our lines or anything, and she carried us through.
Now, you played yourself?
Yeah.
Buffett and Murphy show up on the set of Oh, My Children.
Right.
May I introduce my friend Warren Buffett?
Oh, my, I am so thrilled to meet you. I have been such a fan of yours for such a long time. But I must tell you that your photographs just do not do you justice at all, Mr. Buffett.
Please call me Warren.
Well, thank you if you'll call me Erica.
Susan Lucci, the longtime star of that show.
Right.
Now, they paid you for this.
They paid me for this. I tried to negotiate for more, but I didn't have much luck. And you'll notice there's a wardrobe allowance, which they gave me for $10, and that was in 1991. I haven't spent it yet. I'm someday something will come along.
This suit is not new.
No.
Now, this is funny. This is a story about Gorbachev when he was ousted. Hardliners declare emergency tanks roll into Moscow streets, and the man that they are assuming to be Gennady Yanayev is not, in fact. It is Warren Buffett.
He may be my long-lost twin. I don't know. But this was the day after I took over at Solomon, and I thought some of the comments, they got my picture mixed up. And then there's hardliners declare emergency, vows to overcome crisis. So they had the right captions.
It would have fit for Solomon.
It kind of fit, yeah.
This is you batting against Bob Gibson?
Bob Gibson, right. Yeah, I only play.
You take your life into your own hands, don't you?
I only play against the best.
One of the fastest throwers there's ever been in the history of baseball.
We're friends, but I wasn't sure how far that would carry me.
And so Brokaw sends you a note saying a copy, but Gibson
may object or something.
May object to something. Yeah. Is baseball?
I've always liked baseball. I mean, I don't follow it the way I used to when I was a kid, but baseball is. I love sports generally.
Everywhere I look, there's you in a uniform. There's a hockey thing over there. Here is a man that you refer to because of his approach to hitting.
Right.
Represents what to you as a metaphor?
Ted Williams was all about discipline in hitting. He said the most important thing was waiting for the right pitch, and he illustrated in his book, The Science of Hitting. He illustrated that, and he looked at hitting as something that he thought about morning, noon, and night, and always was looking for how to do it better. But discipline, he said, waiting for the right pitch is the most important thing in batting.
And you think about morning, noon, and night. Berkshire Hathaway in what way?
Well, we keep waiting for the right pitch, and we're not going to swing at some pitch that some other fellow might like. I mean, if our favorite pitch is 2 inches above the navel, and some other guy likes it, around the letters or a little lower or something, that's fine. But in business, unlike baseball, there are no called strikes. So you can sit there and the pitcher can throw you IBM at 62 or General Motors at 28 and all kinds of things, and nobody's going to call a strike. If you swing at one of those pitches when it comes across, Berkshire Hathaway is 7 3/8,
right.
And you miss, it's a strike. But it's a terrific game that way because you can sit there and wait and wait and wait for the right pitch. And there are not many things in life where you get that option.
And that's exactly what you're doing now.
That's what I do now. And I've done it before.
In anticipation of this annual meeting, you have to say to the stockholders, I've been waiting for the right pitch, and I haven't seen it.
That's right. That's right. And some pitch somebody else can hit out of the park, but I don't think I can. That's my problem. But I'm not going to, I'm not going to think I can hit a pitch I can't.
Does it kill you to know that you got $40 billion there, not earning huge interest rates in today's market?
Yeah. Well, I don't like it, but I like it better than swinging and missing. and the problem for most managers is that they've got all these people up in the stands yelling, "Swing, you bum!"
Yeah.
But we've got a group of shareholders who not very often yell out, "Swing, you bum!"
In fact, they're yelling out, "Swing when you're ready."
Yeah.
I mean, that's the confidence that you develop.
That's right.
Why did they come to this annual meeting?
I think they have fun. I mean, it's they see people they like. I think they learn more about Berkshire. It's kind of a reunion for many of them, and there's all kinds of little clubs develop and friendships develop out of it.
A little shopping on the side.
Oh yeah, shopping on the side, and I
get to see a free movie.
In the end, that's about it though. We don't give them goodies or anything like that. I mean, they come because they want to come.
And here is Babe Ruth.
Yeah, that's the Hall of Fame. After the second year, minus Ty Cobb, who was late.
Yeah, this is up here simply because you love baseball.
Well, I just think those are the champs. Yeah. They were the first people put in the Hall of Fame.
And Ty Cobb,
he was late for the picture. And whoever took it wouldn't wait.
But he actually knew your great friend Carol Loomis.
He dated her.
He dated
her, right. Now, bear in mind,
a bit of her history we didn't know.
To be honest about it, I mean, he was 40 or some years older than she was at the time, but his nephew called her and said, "My Uncle Ty has been watching you on television." She was on a quiz show, and he would very much like to take you out. She went a couple of times.
She said, "It's worth getting to know Ty Cobb."
Right.
So here's when Tiger Woods is what? To Warren, he says, "I thoroughly enjoyed our day together and look forward to doing it again." And your friend Tiger, was he caddying for you?
No, I was caddying for him. And if I had my back here, on the back of it says Woods. I mean, I was a very effective caddy.
I see.
And then on the 18th hole, he said, "Now, Warren," he said, "I understand you play this game. And I said, not the game you're talking about, Tiger. He says, we're going to play the 18th hole, and we're going to play it for serious money. And I said, Tiger, all money is serious to me. He said, no, we're going to play it for $5. I said, well, that's serious money. And then he got down on his knees. He played me on his knees. And
so every stroke he hit was on his knees.
He was all the way down on his knees.
And how did he do?
Well, he hit his drive about 260. And
on his knees?
On his knees. I mean, it's unbelievable. Straight down.
I mean, it's out like this when he's
yeah, I mean, he didn't even adjust himself after he was down. And so I went over and I handed him $5. And then I said, Tiger, I think you're forgetting something. And he said, what's that? I said, the caddy gets 10% of your winnings. I'm still waiting for the 50 cents.
You had one day of caddying for him.
He's a terrific guy. He is one terrific guy, I can tell you that. It was part of a charity deal, and I mean, he went all out to deliver value to the people that bought the right to play with him.
And as Jack Nicklaus says, he plays a game I'm not familiar with.
I remember when he said that, yeah.
If you go to Omaha, Nebraska to see Warren Buffett, one of the things you might end up doing is going to Garage Restaurant, one of his favorites. We did that, and we talked with him about a typical day.
Walk through a day for me.
Day is, you wouldn't believe the day. I mean, I come down and
At what time?
Well, I do some reading. I usually read a lot of the papers at home. So I get up around 6:45.
Physical paper on online?
Mostly on regular paper, yeah. But I also click on some things.
Yeah. You have a favorite list too.
Yeah, right. I've even got the Charlie Rose show up there. I want to see who's on here. I really do. But so I get up about 6:45 usually.
Yeah.
But I may get to the office at 9 o'clock. No, I may get there at 8, depending on what's going on. But I have no schedule to speak of. I mean, here's my date book. Just take a look.
Can I do this? This is not jam-packed with appointments.
8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I just don't do it. So I don't want to live that way.
You decided that a long time ago.
A long time. I decided that back when I was delivering papers, when I was a kid. I mean, I knew what I enjoyed and what I didn't enjoy. I like delivering papers. I'd still be glad to deliver a paper. But I don't want to be head of IBM or General Motors or...
Well, why not? Because...
Your life is too taken up by things that you
meetings
don't really
and
have choice
agendas
about.
that are
Yeah,
not-
I just don't want to do it.
But go ahead. Take me 9:45. You get in at whatever
And
time.
then I do more reading. I read 5 newspapers a day.
Yeah.
I read all kinds of annual reports and magazines and 10Ks and 10Qs. And so I would say I spend 75% of the day, at least, maybe 85% reading. And I spend the rest on the phone, and I make I buy or sell any of the stocks or bonds or foreign currencies. I mean, but that doesn't take much time because we're not doing that on a broad scale. And then I go home and I play bridge or read some more.
You go home at what, 5, 6 o'clock?
Yeah, although that can be. There is no. I don't like being
You have no
structured.
schedule.
I don't like to be structured.
If you want to go home at 3, you go home at 3. If you want to go home at 7, you go home at 7.
Exactly.
And still read more.
Yeah, usually, or play bridge now more.
Online.
I would pay, and I don't mind saying this to the people that own it because they don't know how to get it from me. I would pay $5 million a year for the ability to play online bridge 12 hours a week. It's worth it to me. If I compare it to the cost of a second home, which wouldn't mean a thing to me to speak of, or the cost of a boat or whatever it might be. I mean,
what means something to you is to be able to play.
If you deliver 12 hours of enjoyment playing with my sister and Carmel or whoever it may be, doing it in a few seconds, clicking on great, interface on it, I'd pay it, but they can't figure it. So I'm paying about $95 a year.
The principal joy you get is that and bridge and friends. Those 3 things.
And the bridge and the friends intersect, of course.
Yeah.
And I mean, this Saturday I'll play with Bill, and at 10 o'clock my time, 8 o'clock his time. We'll play for a couple of hours.
And you always win.
No. No. I tell you so, but you check with him, and then
That's exactly,
there we go.
Exactly what I would do.
Yeah.